Hi everybody. Today we're going to work on some handwriting rules. When you come to OT, one of the things we work on is your handwriting skills, right? So today I'm going to go through some things with you that you can work on when you're filling out your classwork for e-learning and things to remember when you're working on these things at home. Okay, so I have my little board over here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me move it over. Okay. Handwriting rule number 1. Letters touch the bottom line. All right, so you see in the example, I'm going to move it a little bit closer, that our letters start at the top and go to the bottom. And they all end up touching the bottom line. So it says touch the bottom line. All right, so I'm going to write a sentence and give you an example. I'm going to write it on this kind of paper. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but I also have regular paper too, because we have everybody is at different levels, so it all depends on what type of paper you write on. Okay, so I'm going to use, so you can see it, I'm going to use like a pink marker. And I'm going to write what today is. So I'm going to say today is Monday. And when I do that, I'm starting my letters at the top and going all the way down to the bottom. So T, O, D, A, Y. Today is Monday. Okay. So as you can see, all my letters start at the top and go down to the bottom. I'm going to give you an example of what it would look like if my letters did not touch the bottom, okay? The same sentence, I'm going to give you a good example of what this looks like. Okay, so my example, my second example, is when my letters are not touching the line. So can you guys see the difference? Letters touching the line, letters not touching the line. So the one main thing that I see is that it looks messy, right? If our letters are floating in the air, they're not grounded. And what grounded means is like when your feet are on the floor, you're grounded. Or if you're sitting in a chair, you're grounded. Not grounded like you did something wrong and you're grounded. That's a whole nother grounded. But when our letters are sitting on the line, it's like they have a home. They have somewhere to sit. Our letters are going to get tired if they're hanging out up here on the line all day long. They're like, hey now, come help me out. We don't want to be sitting up in the air. We want to be sitting on something on the line. So think about that in your head when you're writing all your letters, thinking about where they go. Okay, that's an important part of writing. All right, guys. So do me a favor and write me a sentence. It can be anything you want. It can be, I had an awesome Easter, or I'm so glad that this week is a 4-day week. Whatever you want to write, but as long as it's a sentence, I want a full sentence, and I want you to use the strategy of keeping your letters on the line, all right? And I'll come back and we'll talk about the next rule. All right, guys, I hope you took a minute to write a sentence for me. The next rule we're going to talk about, this is rule number 5. There's a couple in between, but we're going to get to those. These are the specific ones that I want you to work on this week. This one says, spaces go between all words. Right? Makes sense. We don't want to write a sentence with all of our words jumbled together. Why? Well, a couple reasons why. It's hard to read what you wrote. You might be able to read what you wrote, but people reading your writing are not going to be able to read what you wrote if it's one big giant sentence. And it also works on neatness, right? It works on how it looks. If you have one big long giant sentence, you're not even going to read it because it's going to be too difficult to read and your eyes are not even going to go there. So I'm going to teach you a little trick, and I'm sure that I taught you this before, but it's a good reminder. If you're having a hard time putting spaces between your words, use your finger, okay? We're going to practice this right now. So your finger is always with you. You'll never forget it. There are some tools that you can use, like a popsicle stick and things like that, but things get lost. And if you guys are moving from class to class, good chance is that it's going to get lost. So your little finger is your reminder. You're not going to need to use this forever, just until your brain starts to tell you, oh, we need a space. Oh, we need a space. Okay? All right, let me get set up and I'll be right back. All right, friends, we're back. All right, I wrote a sentence. Can you read it? It has no spaces. 0 spaces. Do you think if a teacher got this sentence from me, if I handed this in, do you think they'd really read it or know how to read it or take the time to read it? They might, but to make it easier on everybody, it's important to put spaces between your words. Okay, so this sentence actually says, I need to use my finger to space, okay? All right, I'm going to rewrite this sentence using my finger as a helper. All right, I'm going to get on this side so you can watch me write. Okay, so I, finger space, need, finger space, to, finger space, use, finger space, my, finger space, finger. Now I'm at the end of the line. I don't want to squish all my stuff in here, so I'm going to go to the next line. I need to use my finger to space. Okay, guys, you see that? Let me get a little closer for you. So look at how much neater that looks. I space need space to space use space my space finger to space. Now it might seem a little bit slow in the beginning, but you're not going to need it for long because your brain is automatically going to start saying, put the space in, put the space in. So the next sentence that you write for me, I want you to use your finger to put spaces. And if you don't need to use your finger, that's awesome. And I'm glad that you have gotten to that spot. But remember, guys, this is just, a lot of this is reminders too, right? Sometimes we rush through our handwriting, even myself. There are times I look at my handwriting and I said, what did I write? I can't even understand what I wrote. It's because I was going too fast. So sometimes we have good handwriting, but we need to slow down a little bit. All right, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do one more rule. All right, we're back. So this is the last rule we're going to go over today. It's rule number 6, and it's print your letters the same size. What do you think that means? Making them the same size, right? So that can get a little tricky though, because if you have capital letters, they're the ones that need to be bigger. But what this means is within your writing, you want your letters to be around the same size. If you're writing a word that has all lowercase letters, you're not going to write a giant A in the middle of the word, right? It's just going to look not right. So we need to practice how we size those letters. So let me give you an example. I'm going to write a sentence. I'm going to come on this side so you guys can actually see what I'm writing. Okay. I'm going to write a sentence with letters that are not the same size, okay? My dog is a good boy. All right, guys, you see this sentence? Let me get a little closer for you. My dog is a good boy. Now, this isn't terrible, but it's not perfect, right? And I'll tell you why, because the D in dog is way too big. The S is way too big. This one is too little. This G is too little. This O is too little. I meant this G is ginormous. So I'm going to rewrite the sentence, making my letters all the same size. Okay, so let's go for it. Let's see. My dog is a good boy. Okay, guys, can you see that? It looks a lot neater, right? It looks a lot more fluent when everything is the same size. All right, so 3 things I want you to work on. You're going to work on spacing. You're going to work on putting your letters on the line. And you're going to work on size of letters. Okay? And I'll post this on my Plus Portals page, the video and what I want you to do. If all you have is paper and you want to write 3 sentences, 3 separate sentences, 1 for spacing, 1 for letters on the line, and 1 for size of the letters, and you can either take a picture of that and email it to me. I'm going to try to see if I can do a submit button on the assignment page. I'm still learning Plus Portals, so trying to figure out if that'll work for you guys. I'm trying to make it easy, whatever's easiest for you and your families, because I know I'm trying to work with my son too through all this, and there's a lot of things to learn, right? So we're trying to make it easy as possible. All right, guys, I'm excited about this. Next time we work together, possibly next week, we're going to work on some other parts of writing, handwriting, right? And go from there. If you have any questions, email me. Have your parents email me. And if not, have a marvelous week. All right, I'll talk to you soon.